Chairman. And Dr. Ratner, I want to start with you. I mean, the illegal fishing from China is not limited to the Indo-Pacific Command. It goes all the way around to AFRICOM. General Townsend has suggested that the illegal fishing in Africa was going to lead to political unrest. Is there illegal fishing? Is that about money, or is that because they need the fish to feed their people?
Congressman, I think it's both an industrial interest as well as protein for their citizens.
Okay. I want to point out to you that, and I hope the Biden administration is paying attention to this, I hope we're all paying attention to this, Ukraine exports 50 million metric tons, 50 million metric tons of corn and wheat. Over a fourth of that goes into the Indo-Pacific region in Asia. And I think that we need to be doing some type of analysis on what the political and economic disruptions look like when that food is no longer hitting the global supply. They would normally be planting their crops right now. I think it's unlikely, obviously, based on what Russia has done, that food supply comes to the global network, for lack of better terminology. And I do think that all of our areas of responsibility need to be looking at what a reduction in food supply means for their particular areas. There are two primary sources of belligerence in this world right now. They are Russia and China. Admiral, at the end of World War II, the Soviet Union claimed that they owned the Kuril Islands. Those islands, my understanding is, belong to Japan. This dispute has been going on for 77 years. It's not one that's talked about much, but I do think it's important that as we try to resolve these issues that we, on territories, that we talk about all of them. Can you speak to what the United States can do to assist our Japanese ally again in that territory? Is this sovereign Russian territory, as the Russians claim, or do these islands belong to Japan?
So I'm going to defer that first part to Secretary Ratner, because I believe the U.S. doesn't take a policy or a position on those who owns what, right? What we would like to do is ensure that any of those disputes are taken peacefully and in accordance with international law. But there are multiple disputes, as you highlighted. The Kurils are only one. The Japanese are also worried about the Senkaku Islands to the south. And, you know, there are hundreds of disputes throughout the South China Sea. So the position is to ensure a peaceful resolution of those disputes in accordance with international law. I don't know if Secretary Ratner has anything else.
Well, let me move to another area then. China is responsible for the majority, if not an extremely significant portion of the fentanyl that's coming into the world. Dr. Ratner, what is the Biden administration doing to stop the Chinese and the fentanyl that is coming into the world that seems to be unrestricted by the Chinese government?
Congressman, that's outside the purview of the Defense Department, but I'll be sure to get you an answer on that question from the relevant departments and agencies.
All right. Germany and other countries have been resistant to increasing their defense spending. Japan is one of our allies that spends about 1.3% of its GDP on defense. Are we seeing countries like Japan, based on the recent aggression from Russia and the conduct of China, are we seeing them move to increase their defense spending the way we've seen Germany and others recognize the current threats?
Congressman, we'll see. I know there are current discussions on that ongoing in Tokyo. These are obviously sensitive issues for them, given some of their constitutional issues and otherwise, but clearly they are seized of the mounting threat and challenge from the PRC.
I think as we see increased spending from those that share our interest and our values as Americans, I think we need to make sure that we're coordinating with them so that we get the most for the dollars that are spent. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield the remainder of my time.